12 terrifying archaeological discoveries around the world that even top scientists can't explain. Hello, and welcome to Ancient History Channel. My friend, have you ever wondered what secrets might still lie hidden beneath that calm layer of Earth? Secrets that humanity has never uncovered? Our world is vast, yet sometimes just one accidental shovel in the ground can reveal something that leaves the entire scientific community stunned. Strange archaeological sites, skeletal remains with inhuman shapes, or artifacts that are thousands of years old yet contain technology far ahead of their time. All of these discoveries send chills down our spines and make us question, could there be something beyond human understanding that truly exists? In today's journey, we'll explore 12 of the most terrifying archaeological discoveries in the world, mysteries that even top scientists have failed to explain. Some believe these are evidence of a lost ancient civilization. Others think they're traces left behind by beings from distant worlds. What about you? What do you think could be the real explanation behind these bizarre findings? Get ready, because what you're about to see might just give you goosebumps. From mysterious ancient tombs and mummies with eerie expressions to objects that defy all logical explanation, each discovery opens a doorway into another world, where the line between science and the supernatural blurs like never before. Join me on this journey and let's find out together whether science can truly explain everything that exists on this Earth. The 2,500-year-old mummy of the frozen princess Ukok. Amid the icy expanse of the Ukok Plateau in Siberia, a place where snow blankets the land year-round and fierce winds howl as if tearing through the sky, a colossal secret lay buried for more than 2 millennia until it was finally revealed. The story begins in 1993 when a team of archaeologists, while excavating an ancient burial mound, made a stunning discovery: a coffin buried deep beneath the permafrost. What left them speechless was what lay inside: a 2,500-year-old mummy preserved in near-perfect condition thanks to the frozen layer of earth that had never once thawed since the day of her burial. The sight shocked the entire scientific world, a mummy so intact that no one could believe it had rested underground for thousands of years. The woman was named the Ukok Princess, also known as the Frozen Maiden. She is believed to have belonged to the Pazyryk people, an ancient nomadic tribe that once roamed the Siberian steppes around the 5th century BCE. Archaeologist Natalia Polosmak, who led the discovery, later recalled that when the coffin was opened, it felt as though they had traveled back in time. Everything remained astonishingly well preserved, from her clothing and burial goods to her peaceful reclining posture. The mummy's condition was extraordinary. The wrinkles on her skin were still visible, and the intricate ancient tattoos on her arms and shoulders, sacred symbols of the Pazyryk culture, could still be clearly seen. The more experts studied her, the more they realized that the Ukok princess was no ordinary woman. She was buried far from other graves, alongside 6 horses, a ritual reserved only for individuals of exceptional status. Some theories suggest she may have been a shaman or spiritual leader, someone believed to bridge the human world with the realm of spirits. Traces of mercury and copper were found inside her nose, possibly used in ceremonial practices to induce trance-like states. Her elaborate headdress and the religious motifs of her tattoos further strengthened the belief that she was a powerful and revered woman. What stunned researchers even more was the result of a later MRI scan, which revealed that she had suffered from terminal cancer and may have endured immense pain during her final days. Inside her tomb, traces of cannabis were also discovered, likely used as a natural pain reliever, offering evidence of primitive yet compassionate medical practices from thousands of years ago. The woman stood about 5 feet 5 to 5 feet 7 inches tall and weighed around 108 pounds, giving her a slender figure unlike the typically robust build of other noble mummies from her era. It's believed that before her death, she continued to travel with her nomadic tribe across the steppe. Perhaps during one such journey, she fell from a height and never woke again. Instead of leaving her behind, her people honored her with a solemn burial, laying her to rest with her horses and ritual offerings, so that her soul could continue its journey into the afterlife. Today, the Ukok princess is carefully preserved at the National Museum of Gorno-Altaysk after spending over 20 years at the Novosibirsk Institute of Archaeology. Despite decades of study, her true identity and life story remain an unsolved mystery. More than 2,500 years later, the frozen maiden still lies there, defying time itself, a haunting reminder that perhaps countless other secrets remain entombed beneath the icy layers of Siberia, where the past still breathes quietly alongside the present. The 5,100-year-old irrigation system, the oldest in the world, discovered in China. When people talk about the great engineering marvels of the ancient world, they often think of the Egyptian pyramids or the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. Yet few know that in China, archaeologists have unearthed a massive irrigation system estimated to be 5,100 years old, believed to be the oldest hydraulic engineering project on Earth, even predating the systems built in Mesopotamia. Amazingly, this vast network covers more than 740 acres, located along China's eastern coast, once the heart of the mysterious Liangzhu civilization. It took experts 4 years of excavation and research to fully uncover and study the site. Using modern techniques such as satellite imaging, geographical modeling, and soil analysis, they reconstructed an incredibly detailed picture of an irrigation system of unprecedented scale. Dr. Yijie Zhuang, one of the lead researchers from University College London, explained, "This system was built at an astonishing pace. In less than a decade, about 3,000 workers moved roughly 4.3 million cubic yards of earth to complete it. That's an almost unimaginable feat, especially considering the primitive tools available at the time." In its entirety, the site reveals a highly complex structure consisting of high and low dams, ditches, trenches, channels, and solid embankments, all carefully organized to control water flow for irrigation, flood prevention, and dry season storage. Thanks to this engineering masterpiece, the people of Liangzhu didn't just survive, they thrived in the fertile lower plains of the Yangtze River. They learned to harness nature, transforming wetlands into productive farmlands, something many later civilizations would take millennia to achieve. According to researchers, this 5,100-year-old irrigation system provides undeniable evidence that the Liangzhu people's engineering and scientific knowledge were far more advanced than previously believed. They not only mastered agriculture, but also understood the laws of nature, calculating slopes, directing water currents, and reshaping the environment on a massive scale using only human labor. This was no longer the work of a primitive farming society. It was the mark of a structured, intelligent, and visionary civilization. Interestingly, the area appears to have been relatively isolated, possibly serving only a single ancient city. But that very isolation may have been what allowed the site to remain remarkably well preserved until today. When archaeologists uncovered it, they didn't just find channels and dams, they also discovered exquisite jade artifacts, symbols of power and spirituality among the Liangzhu people. The craftsmanship of these relics was so precise that modern experts still marvel at how Neolithic humans could achieve such technical mastery. It's no exaggeration to say that this discovery reshapes our understanding of ancient hydraulic engineering and opens a new window into the Liangzhu civilization, once considered one of the great mysteries of the East. The largest warship graveyard in the Pacific Ocean. Beneath the deep blue waters of the Pacific lies a place where time seems to stand still, a silent realm holding the souls that have slept undisturbed for more than 70 years. This is Lagoon, part of the Federated States of Micronesia, located north of Australia. Few would imagine that this peaceful sea was once one of the most brutal battlegrounds of World War II, where in just a few short days, more than 70 Japanese warships, submarines, and aircraft were destroyed and sent to the ocean floor. Back then, the waters of Truk burned red with fire and smoke. Today, the same lagoon has transformed into a haunting underwater cemetery, eerily quiet, yet filled with echoes of the past. As you dive deeper, the sunlight fades into dim blue shadows, revealing massive ghostly ships draped in green moss. Rusted propellers lie motionless, as if frozen in time, silently recounting tales of heroism and tragedy. Inside the wreck of the Ukok Maru, one of the warships sunk in 1944, human skulls of Japanese soldiers remain, forever entombed with their vessel. Every relic, every corroded piece of metal here seems to carry the breath of history, the memory of men who gave their lives in the cold embrace of the sea. Divers often describe the experience as stepping into a colossal underwater museum where time stopped the moment the war ended. They run their hands over broken cannons and torpedoes resting silently on the wreck of the Heian Maru, feeling the weight of a history that refuses to fade. Bombers lie tilted in the sand, Scorched fuel drums rest nearby, and even American naval mines remain intact, silent witnesses to the devastating 1944 assault. Today, Truk Lagoon is not only a haven for adventurous divers, but also a sacred site that reminds humanity of the heavy price of war. Many nations have designated it a protected historical zone, forbidding the disturbance or removal of artifacts out of respect for the fallen. Every year, hundreds of visitors from around the world travel here, not merely to marvel at the beauty of the deep sea, but to listen to the whispers of the past, retold by the ocean through the remnants of ships long gone. Can you imagine it? Deep within the vast ocean, dozens of warships lie stacked upon each other, their cannons still pointing skyward, as if waiting for an order that never came. Under the faint glow of divers' flashlights, the carvings on the hulls and the Imperial Japanese Navy insignias remain clearly visible. The sight is both breathtaking and haunting, as though the war never truly ended, but simply sank quietly beneath the waves to rest alongside time itself. Perhaps if you ever set foot in Truk Lagoon, you'll understand why it's called the largest warship graveyard in the Pacific. It is a parallel world where the past still breathes, reminding us that even though wars may end, their echoes remain, hidden deep beneath the endless blue waters of the Pacific. The 700-year-old mummy of the Chinese beauty that baffled scientists. Have you ever heard of a 700-year-old mummy that still looks as if she only just drifted off to sleep? It sounds like something straight out of a movie, yet this story is entirely real. It all began on an ordinary morning in Jiangsu Province, China. In 2011, while a group of workers were expanding a road in the city of Taizhou, they accidentally struck a coffin buried about 6.5 feet underground. Curiosity, fear, and astonishment filled the air as they realized what they had uncovered was not rock or wood, but an ancient mummy wrapped tightly in layers of silk and surrounded by a mysterious brown liquid. The site was immediately sealed off, and archaeologists were called in. When the coffin lid was slowly lifted, everyone held their breath. Inside lay the body of a woman, resting peacefully in fine silk fabric. Her skin still appeared elastic, and her eyebrows and eyelashes were perfectly intact. Jewelry adorned her neck and wrists, including a striking green jade ring. Everything was so well preserved that no one could believe this body had been buried underground for more than 7 centuries. She was respectfully named the Taizhou Beauty, also known as the Chinese Mummy Beauty. Based on her silk garments and exquisite jewelry, archaeologists believe she belonged to the noble class during the Ming dynasty, roughly between the 14th and 17th centuries of ancient China. The body, measuring about 4 feet 11 inches tall, was found among burial items including ceramics, bones, ancient writings, and other valuable relics. These artifacts provided a glimpse into the luxurious lifestyle and rigid social hierarchy of the Ming era. However, what puzzled scientists the most was the question, why was this mummy preserved so perfectly? Some researchers suggest that Ming dynasty embalming techniques were highly advanced, using silk and cotton to absorb moisture and maintain the body's original form. Others believe it was simply a miraculous coincidence of nature, where the underground temperature, humidity, and oxygen levels created ideal conditions that prevented bacterial growth, allowing the body to rest instead of decay. Yet the mysterious brown liquid surrounding the mummy remains an unsolved puzzle. Was it a special embalming solution, or just groundwater that seeped in over time? More than a decade later, Chinese scientists still haven't reached a definitive answer. The woman's true identity, her cause of death, and the exact burial rituals remain a mystery. Even more puzzling, the site where the mummy was found is in a remote area, with no other remains or artifacts nearby, deepening the intrigue. Today, the Taizhou mummy is carefully preserved at the Taizhou Museum, which has been open to the public since 1979 after the discovery of the first Ming dynasty mummy. Thousands of visitors come each year, not only to witness the timeless beauty of this 700-year-old woman, but also to ponder a question humanity still cannot answer. How can a human body remain so perfectly intact for centuries underground, defying the harsh laws of nature itself? Do you have your own theory? If you do, don't hesitate to share it. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Animal bones found beneath the Roman Colosseum reveal a terrifying truth. If you think the Roman Colosseum was only a place where humans fought each other in bloody battles, this discovery might change your mind. Deep within the ancient ruins, archaeologists have uncovered a chilling secret: the remains of animals buried in the old drainage tunnels beneath the Colosseum, including the bones of dogs once forced to fight in brutal combat, solely for the amusement of spectators thousands of years ago. This remarkable find was announced in 2022 by a team of experts from the Archaeological Park of the Colosseum in Italy. While excavating the ancient drainage system, they discovered the bones of numerous wild animals: leopards, bears, lions, ostriches, and, most shockingly, the skeletal remains of several small dogs, believed to be the ancestors of today's dachshund breed. What astonished researchers most was that these dogs weren't companions or pets. They were trained to fight in the Colosseum's gruesome spectacles. Dr. Alfonsina Russo, director of the Archaeological Park, expressed heartbreak when she stated, "We found many dog bones that look identical to modern dachshunds. Sadly, they weren't gentle household pets. They were warriors forced to fight against bears and lions in the arena, and most of them died." Just imagine the horror. Tens of thousands of spectators cheering wildly as these small, muscular dogs with strong jaws were thrown into the massive arena, facing beasts many times their size. They had no choice but to fight to the death. When the roaring crowds finally quieted, only tiny, lifeless bodies remained. Bones later unearthed beneath the cold earth, silent witnesses to one of humanity's most brutal entertainments. Archaeologists also discovered food scraps left behind by the spectators: figs, grapes, olives, plums, and various seeds, tossed carelessly into the arena after the shows. Among the debris were over 50 bronze fragments and a rare silver coin minted between AD 170 and 171 to commemorate Emperor Marcus Aurelius's 10th year of reign. These artifacts helped experts accurately date the sediment layers within the tunnels. Interestingly, this study not only revealed the dark side of ancient Roman culture, but also offered insights that could help modern Rome. It turns out that the Colosseum's ancient drainage system was engineered with remarkable intelligence, designed to prevent flooding during heavy rains, a problem that still troubles the modern city. Today, engineers and archaeologists are working to restore and study the original system, hoping to both preserve this historic marvel and adapt its design for modern urban solutions. Each bone, coin, and ancient pipe found beneath the Colosseum tells part of a larger story, one about humanity's obsession with spectacle, its cruelty, and its ingenuity. It's a story where the cheers of victory drowned out the cries of the innocent, leaving behind forgotten souls buried under the sands of history. Now, as science sheds light on these remains, we are reminded of a sobering truth. History isn't written only through triumphs, but also through the suffering of innocent beings who had no voice. The 2,500-year-old mummy pair with golden tongues that terrified everyone. It may sound unbelievable, but this is one of the strangest and most fascinating archaeological discoveries in Egypt in recent years. During the excavation of an ancient tomb on the outskirts of Cairo, researchers accidentally uncovered two 2,500-year-old mummies, one male and one female, each buried with delicately crafted gold leaves placed on their tongues. You might wonder, why would the ancients do such a thing? According to experts from the University of Barcelona in Spain, the two mummies were entombed in separate limestone coffins dating back to the Sate period, Egypt's 26th dynasty, roughly 2,500 years ago. Remarkably, the male mummy was found almost perfectly preserved, sealed within an untouched chamber, while the female mummy had been badly damaged, likely the victim of grave robbers thousands of years ago. During the excavation, archaeologists also uncovered an array of precious artifacts: canopic jars, which held the deceased's internal organs, scarab-shaped amulets, clay funerary figurines, and hundreds of small burial items carefully arranged around the bodies. Next to the male mummy, experts found 402 Ushabti figurines, tin-glazed pottery, blue bead necklaces, and numerous protective amulets, all believed to safeguard the soul on its journey to the afterlife. But the most astonishing discovery was the gold-covered tongue. In ancient Egyptian belief, when a person died, their soul would face Osiris, the god of the underworld and divine judge of the dead. It was thought that placing a gold leaf on the tongue allowed the deceased to speak with Osiris, to plead for forgiveness, and to be judged fairly. The golden tongue, therefore, served as a sacred passport, enabling communication in the afterlife. After thousands of years buried deep beneath the earth, The golden tongue was still found resting perfectly inside the mouth, glimmering faintly in the dark, cold tomb, a lasting testament to the ancient Egyptians' powerful faith in life after death. It wasn't merely a funerary ornament, but a symbol of humanity's longing to be heard, to exist, even after the body had turned to dust. Beyond these two mummies, at the Taposiris Magna site, archaeologists uncovered 16 additional tombs carved into rock, and astonishingly, several other mummies also possessed golden tongues. This suggests that the ritual of replacing the real tongue with gold may have been reserved for nobility or individuals of high social standing. Experts believe that embalmers removed the natural tongue and replaced it with a thin sheet of gold, completing a deeply spiritual and religious rite. These discoveries not only open a new window into ancient Egyptian faith, but also deepen our understanding of how early civilizations viewed the soul, death, and immortality. From that small golden tongue, we glimpse an entire civilization, one that believed death was not an end, but a transition to another world. And who knows, hidden beneath the endless golden sands of Egypt, there may still lie countless mummies, silently waiting to speak again one day through their immortal tongues of gold. The 8,000-year-old skeletons found embracing beneath the soil of Turkey. In the world of archaeology, sometimes a single discovery is powerful enough to make all of humanity pause in reflection. Recently, in the ancient lands of Turkey, archaeologists uncovered two human skeletons lying side by side in an embrace, believed to be 8,000 years old. A scene that seems like it belongs in a tragic love story has now appeared in reality, buried deep beneath the earth for millennia. This extraordinary find took place in Diyarbakir province, in the Bismil district of southeastern Turkey. While excavating beneath an ancient house in the Hakimi Yus area, researchers unexpectedly discovered two prehistoric skeletons, one believed to be a man about 30 years old, and the other a woman around 20. Both were found lying on their sides, their bodies slightly curved, leaning toward one another, as if seeking a trace of warmth in the cold silence of death. According to Halil Tekin, the head of the excavation team and an archaeologist from Hacettepe University in Ankara, the remains date back to around 6,100 BC, belonging to the Hasuna culture, one of the earliest and most advanced civilizations in northern Mesopotamia, modern-day Iraq. Their burial together in the same grave has led experts to believe they may have been lovers, who perhaps died from illness, tragedy, or even what some romantically call a forbidden love. However, the scientific community remains divided. Some anthropologists argue that the position of the skeletons doesn't necessarily depict an embrace, but rather a side-by-side fetal posture, which was common in Neolithic burials. Archaeologist C.C. Lamberg-Karlovsky from Harvard University suggested that the pair might not have been lovers at all, but siblings, or perhaps victims of an epidemic who died at the same time. There's even the possibility that both were male, something that can only be confirmed once DNA and genetic analyses are completed. Still, whether or not this was truly a love story, the sight of these two intertwined skeletons is undeniably moving. It reminds us of a time long before writing, before metal, when humans already understood love, attachment, and the desire to remain together, even in death. It's a rare phenomenon. Among thousands of skeletons unearthed worldwide, only a handful have ever been found buried so closely and tenderly together. Interestingly, the Hakimi Yus site where these remains were found is destined to be submerged underwater once the Ilisu Dam on the Tigris River is fully operational. That's why, since 2001, Tekin's team has been racing against time, excavating every inch of ground to save as many archaeological treasures as possible. Beyond the embracing skeletons, they also unearthed ancient Hasuna pottery, evidence that this culture once spread from northern Mesopotamia into Turkey. We may never know the true relationship between these two people from 8,000 years ago, but the simple fact that they were laid to rest together, forever side by side, is enough to make their story eternal. Beneath the cold earth, they still lie there, a symbol of love and connection that transcends time, silently reminding our modern world, is there any love stronger than the one that dares to journey together, to the very end of life itself? 742 skeletons, 9,000 years old in Turkey, reveal the curse of the world's first city. In the arid lands of central Turkey, once considered one of the cradles of human civilization, archaeologists have uncovered a mystery that has sent shivers around the world. In the ruins of the ancient settlement Çatalhöyük, they discovered 742 human skeletons, dating back more than 9,000 years, the remnants of a once thriving community that abruptly collapsed in tragedy. What is striking is that this ancient catastrophe, while seemingly distant in time, mirrors challenges that modern society faces today. According to Professor Clark Spencer Larson of Ohio State University, Çatalhöyük was one of the first cities in the world, established around 7,100 BC. At its peak, the settlement housed up to 8,000 residents, an enormous number for the Neolithic era. The people had abandoned their nomadic lifestyles to settle, build houses, form villages, and create one of humanity's earliest civilizations. But this progress came with terrible consequences. Overcrowding forced the houses at Çatalhöyük to be built tightly together with no doors. People had to climb onto the roofs and slide down into their homes. Each house was like a sealed box, serving as both living space and burial site, as the dead were interred directly under the floor. The stifling air, poor sanitation, and overlapping daily activities turned the city into a giant disease hub of the ancient world. Researchers found that 33% of the skeletons showed signs of infection, with many deaths resulting from diseases spreading through human and animal waste trapped in the walls and floors. Dental analysis revealed that 13% of women and 10% of men suffered severe tooth decay, caused by a diet heavy in grains but low in meat and vegetables. Even more horrifying, 25% of the skeletons had skull fractures, evidence that residents did not just die from illness, but also from violence and conflict. Perhaps when famine, disease, and survival pressures escalated, humans turned on one another. Yet what truly sends chills down the spine is the disturbing similarity between Çatalhöyük and modern society. Today, billions of people live in megacities, crammed together, breathing polluted air, facing infectious diseases, environmental degradation, and food crises. Everything that caused the collapse of humanity's first city is repeating in a modern form. Professor Larson emphasizes that Çatalhöyük is not just an archaeological site, but a mirror of human history. It shows that no matter how advanced technology, science, and material wealth become, humans still face age-old challenges: disease, violence, overpopulation, and environmental decay. The first city fell because of its own civilization, and if we do not change course, history could very well repeat itself. So the question remains, has the curse of Çatalhöyük truly vanished, or does it quietly persist in every street, building, and breath of modern society? 8.7 million-year-old fossil upends human history. Until now, most of us have believed that Africa is the cradle of humanity, the place where our earliest ancestors first stood upright, used tools, and began the long journey of evolution that has lasted millions of years. But a groundbreaking discovery in Turkey now threatens to rewrite this entire evolutionary history from scratch. Scientists have announced the discovery of an 8.7 million-year-old fossil belonging to an ancient primate species named Anadaluvius turcae. Remarkably, researchers believe this species could be the common ancestor of humans and several other primate lineages. Unlike previous finds in Africa, this fossil was unearthed deep in the soil of Turkey, in the heart of ancient Europe. If confirmed, this discovery could challenge Charles Darwin's hypothesis that humans originated exclusively in Africa. Instead of migrating out of Africa to conquer the world, our ancestors may have migrated from Europe back into Africa in a complex, multi-million-year migration pattern. The fossil was found nearly intact, preserving much of the face and frontal skull structure, allowing experts to reconstruct the appearance of the species. Anadaluvius turcae had an ape-like body, but archaeologists were astonished by its large cranial size and brain volume, much greater than that of other known ancestors. It had a body size roughly equivalent to an adult male chimpanzee, weighing about 110 to 130 pounds, lived in open, dry forest environments, and likely spent most of its time on the ground, rather than exclusively climbing like other primates. Professor David Begun, a paleoanthropologist at the University of Toronto, Canada, stated, "Based on the jaw, teeth, and geological deposits, Anadaluvius turcae may have lived in a much drier and more open environment than African apes. It provides evidence that adaptation to life on the ground began millions of years earlier than previously thought. Published in Communication Biology, the study also suggests an even more shocking possibility: that human ancestors may have evolved in Europe for 5 million years before migrating to Africa in response to environmental changes and shrinking forests. In other words, instead of humans leaving Africa, it may be that Africa was where we returned. The ancient Mediterranean ecosystem is also coming into focus, a world where elephants, rhinos, giraffes, hyenas, lions, and human ancestors coexisted before diverging, with each species evolving along its own path. The disappearance of forests, climate change, and competition for survival forced these creatures to migrate thousands of miles, opening new chapters in the evolutionary story that we are only beginning to uncover. Now the question arises: did humans really originate in Africa, or did Europe mark the true beginning of it all? This 8.7 million-year-old discovery not only upends our understanding of history, but also challenges us to rethink the entire journey of human evolution, a journey whose true origins may still lie buried beneath the ancient soils of Europe. A church decorated with 40,000 human skeletons. You may have marveled at magnificent architectural wonders like Notre Dame in Paris or the Leaning Tower of Pisa, but have you ever imagined a church where the entire interior, from chandeliers and chalices to family crests, is made entirely of human bones? This isn't a horror movie or a legend. It's a real place that exists today in the Czech Republic, known as Sedlec Ossuary, one of the most eerie and haunting sights on the planet, yet also a breathtaking testament to how humans transform death into art. Picture yourself stepping through a weathered iron gate. The moss-covered stones crunch softly underfoot. As the old wooden doors swing open, you feel as if you've entered another world. A world where death is not buried underground, but laid bare before your eyes. 4 walls are covered with skulls, femurs, and pelvic bones, arranged so artistically that you're torn between turning away in fear and staring in awe. The story of Sedlec Ossuary begins in the 13th century, when a pilgrim monk returned from Jerusalem with a handful of holy soil and sprinkled it over the Sedlec cemetery. From that moment, the site became sacred, and thousands of people, nobles and commoners alike, desired to be buried there. But tragedy struck. During the 14th century Black Death, nearly half of Europe's population perished, leaving tens of thousands of bodies to be buried. Sedlec became the resting place for over 30,000 victims. The following century brought the Hussite religious wars, claiming even more lives, whose bones were again interred at Sedlec. By the late 15th century, the cemetery had run out of space. Graves were exhumed and the bones collected to make room for a new chapel, the very one standing today. For centuries, the bones remained quietly in the dark until 1870, when a skilled yet macabre artist, František Rint, was commissioned to decorate the space using these ancient skeletons. Rint didn't just arrange bones. He transformed them into unimaginable works of art. The 7-branch chandelier in the center of the chapel incorporates almost every type of human bone in the body, an astonishing centerpiece that leaves visitors speechless. Every curve, every line demonstrates incredible craftsmanship, meticulousness, and a haunting beauty. The church gates were built as a curtain of bones, segments of pelvis and arm bones crafted into chalices, while the Schwarzenberg family crest, whose members funded the project, is displayed on the wall using cold, white bones. Though chilling, Sedlec is not the only place in the world where death has been transformed into eerie beauty. Beneath the streets of Paris lie the catacombs, stretching 186 miles underground, 200 feet deep, containing 6 million skeletons, a city of the dead beneath a living city. Also in the Czech Republic, near Sedlec, the Brno ossuary holds more than 50,000 skeletons, serving as a stark reminder of history, war, disease, and mortality. Sedlec is more than a strange architectural feat. It is a convergence of history, religion, art, and death. The bones here are not merely remnants of lost lives. They form a language that tells a story hundreds of years old, a story that no visitor can easily forget. Do you have the courage to set foot inside Sedlec Ossuary? If you do, it might just be the most unforgettable stop for your next trip. 3,000-year-old human skeletons reveal ancient sacrificial rituals in England. Beneath the quiet soil of Oxfordshire, England, Archaeologists have uncovered nearly 26 human skeletons dating back as far as 3,000 years, buried according to strange rituals from the Iron Age and Roman period. Most chilling of all is the discovery of a female skeleton with her legs severed and placed side by side, while her arms were bound behind her head, an image that sends shivers down anyone's spine. These finds were made at Childrey Warren, a seemingly peaceful area that conceals a dark chapter in human history. According to Neil Holbrook, director of the Cotswold Archaeology Institute, the evidence suggests that ancient people in Oxfordshire may have performed human sacrifices, reflecting deep religious beliefs and superstitions before the Roman Empire established dominance in the region. But that's not all. Surrounding the burial site, archaeologists discovered traces of ancient dwellings, animal remains, and numerous household items such as pottery, cutting tools, and decorative combs. Objects that might seem mundane today actually provide crucial clues, helping researchers reconstruct a civilization that believed offering human life could appease the gods, ensure bountiful harvests, and protect against misfortune. If you think such brutal rituals were unique to ancient England, you might be surprised to learn that human sacrifice was a global phenomenon. In Peru, archaeologists uncovered a horrific 15th-century ritual site containing over 140 sacrificed children, a heartbreaking testament to the extreme beliefs of that era. In Mexico, beneath the bustling streets of modern-day Mexico City, a massive skull field has been unearthed, the remnants of bloody rituals conducted by the Aztecs to honor the sun god. Even at the Templo Mayor, the religious heart of the Aztec Empire, archaeologists continue to excavate sacrificial skeletons buried alongside weapons, jewelry, and ritual offerings. And the evidence extends beyond the Americas. In Israel, a discovery stunned scientists. A treasure of gold coins and a 900-year-old gold earring found at a site linked to Crusader massacres. It seems that everywhere on Earth, history hides tragic stories, moments when humans believed that blood and life itself could serve as a bridge between mortals and the divine. Today, the 3,000-year-old skeletons in England are more than the remnants of ancient rituals. They are a stark reminder that human history is not just written in ink, but also etched into bones, soil, and the primal fears of our ancestors. So, what do you think? Did these ancient people truly believe that human sacrifice could alter fate? Or was there another secret behind these rituals that remains undeciphered even today? The tragic remains of the 1952 plane crash victims. Beneath the white ice of Alaska's desolate frozen wilderness, where temperatures can plummet below -40 degrees Fahrenheit and piercing winds cut through skin, lies a heartbreaking secret, the story of a doomed plane that crashed 60 years ago. The tragedy began on November 22, 1952, when a massive U.S. Air Force C-124 Globemaster transport plane went down during a flight from McChord Air Force Base in Washington to Elmendorf Air Force Base in Alaska. On board were 52 people, including 41 passengers and 11 crew members, all of whom vanished without a trace. At the time, the extreme weather made any rescue efforts nearly impossible. Heavy snow, fierce winds, and sub-zero temperatures rendered the search futile. Recon pilots only spotted small pieces of metal scattered along the slopes of Gannett Peak, but soon even these were swallowed by the snow and ice, making the plane seem to vanish entirely. The accident gradually faded from memory, leaving grieving families clinging to the faint hope that one day they might discover signs of their loved ones. Yet fate had other plans. Nearly 60 years later, in June 2012, a group of soldiers training on the Colony Glacier stumbled upon a strange yellow object, a U.S. military life raft. Digging further, they uncovered more items: a small Buddha statue, a flight suit, postage stamps, and even a pilgrimage itinerary to St. Patrick's Cathedral in Washington, D.C. Each object acted as a message from the past, confirming that this was indeed the crash site of the C-124. The discovery immediately shocked the nation. A large-scale recovery operation was launched, involving the Alaska National Guard, helicopters, and hundreds of forensic and archaeological experts. As the ice slowly melted, fragments of the plane emerged, along with the remains of victims trapped in the frozen glacier for over half a century. Artifacts and remains were transported to the U.S. Armed Forces DNA Identification Laboratory, where scientists began the painstaking process of identifying each individual. To date, 17 service members have been identified, with searches continuing for the remaining 9. Every time a set of remains is confirmed, a letter is sent to the family, closing a painful yet hopeful chapter for loved ones who have waited decades. What makes this story remarkable is not just the scale of the tragedy, but the humanity and persistence in the quest for truth. Though time had buried the past, the tireless efforts of the recovery teams demonstrate that every lost soul deserves to return home, and no one is forgotten in this vast world. Amid the frozen ice and swirling snow, where wreckage lies silent under the weak sunlight, the faint echo of engines from that fateful day seems to linger, a reminder of a sorrowful tragedy and a testament to the unyielding human spirit against time and fate. Looking back at these 12 shocking archaeological discoveries, we realize that our world still hides countless mysteries far beyond human understanding. Even with all the advances of modern science, there are still things that leave researchers shaking their heads in disbelief. Strange tombs, unexplained skeletons, and traces that seem to come from an entirely different civilization. Perhaps the past has never truly slept, and who knows, right beneath the ground we stand on, thousands of other secrets may be waiting to be uncovered. What do you think about what I just shared? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you'll be the first to watch the latest videos. For now, thank you and see you next time.